Hello and welcome back to War Thunder and welcome back to the Duck Talks 18. It's already 18 Duck Talks since I began, my YouTube career, so to speak. And I think this is now the phase where or at least I am just before entering my fourth closed beta test. It seems like ships are now just a few weeks away from getting introduced into War Thunder, at least a closed beta test, but more on this in a few seconds. Two things before I, move on to talk about ships. The title is voted, and indeed you have voted at least a part of my subscriber base that, interacts a bit more with my channel than just watching. I asked you in the last Duck Talks if, you would mind me, adding some ads for my channel. The Golden Eagles app for, supporting me a little bit with Golden Eagles in the game, which I need, to buy stuff to review for you guys, and to have a nice progression and to purchase a premium account in like a year or so it runs out. More on this in a moment as well. And yes, the overwhelming response was overwhelmingly positive. A lot of people really backed me up on this, said, yeah, just do it, we will not suffer in any way from it. And indeed, you just have to endure a few seconds of advertisement, so to speak. And you don't have to pay anything, and most of you will just skip through it anyways with ad block, so most of you will not. One proper advantage it does have, you get maybe an intro, we will see. Up until this point, including this video, there's just an intro picture. On the other hand, it's not an annoyingly long intro like certain other people that always discourage me from using such kind of intros, heavily put work into it, and then people just skip it and being annoyed with it, and I understand it. But there was no downvote on the video. There were no mean or insulting comments, just a few people that did not really like it, but that's your opinion and I'm fine with it. And on the actual straw poll, that was the decisive factor, 25 votes for it up until this point, and just one vote against it. So thank you guys again for supporting me, for actually being willing to let me earn a few bucks with it to cut my costs, because that's what it actually is, cutting my costs. And actually, talking about cutting my costs, you might have a look at the background footage. I had a few games in the Jumbo Sherman that went rather well for first experiences, but it's fully upgraded, and I'm not that noobish anymore in realistic battles, as if I ever was. And the results were pretty nice. The only problem that this tank features it when it runs into enemy Russian medium tanks when it gets fully up-tiered. Yeah. Then the next thing is, finally, let's talk about the naval section. Today, a compilation of all the dev blogs came out. You will find the link in the video description. Then it's time of the year where usually closed beta tests come up. If you remember, the closed beta test for tanks was around Christmas, where it began for the Russian and the German tank line. The same 1 year later with the Americans, and 1 year later basically for the British tanks. And now it seems like it's the time of the year that we will see boats, ships, whatever you want to call it, the naval section of War Thunder. I hope it will be great. I have no further information than you have, except for what stands in the dev blogs or the thing Gaijin releases. Sadly, I have no further inlook. Then also, that what might give us kind of a date, an actual date, is the pre-order of the naval soundtrack. Yes, you can pre-order it. Link in the video description to the dev block, let's call it that way. At the beginning of December, it will get released. This is not a certain date that, please don't go out and say, oh, this little YouTuber Napalmratte said it's at the beginning of December. No, 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 no. This is when the soundtrack gets released. But, it is an indicator. Let's call it that. In other news, I won a 5 versus 1 in the BF1 Online E7 in realistic battles on the Ruhr map, and you will not believe how I won it. And no, I did not win it by destroying any kind of ground unit or tank. But no spoilers. You will see this video hopefully on the weekend, because I think it's a great weekend video. With a lot of tension, and when I played it, believe me, this was one hell of a battle, and there might be a discussion part about it. But that actually makes sense. But no further spoilers. Spoilers at all. Then, in further news for talking about weekends, I tried to record some idea that I had in mind, but I needed a lot of people. And sadly, when I tried to get those people together after the live stream of the Orange Doom on Thursday, it was, and I did not manage to pick all the people that I needed for the recording. It was like 15 people at the most in the custom battle, and I needed like 32, like all you can get for the shooting, literally. And I intend to do it on weekend, but I'm not quite sure when. Maybe again after the live stream of the Orange Doom on weekend, Saturday. And if I do not manage to get back home in time, Sunday. But please follow me on Twitter, link in the video description, to get informed if you want to participate. All those who tried the shooting with me, and have experience in doing so, might join as well. And it might be a bit confusing in the beginning with organizing, but after you get behind the idea what I want to do, it will be kind of obvious what I want to do, and it will be not just a lot of fun, but it will also look epic. And you might get mentioned, or you will get mentioned in the video, as long as you want to be mentioned. So that's that done. Another question that I have for you is if you want to see any kind of guide, a special kind of guide that you think you need to know for either planes or tanks that I have not already done. So please look into my playlist, Guides for War Thunder, to see if there is the guide you need. And if somebody else has done a guide but you don't quite understand what's the trick, I might do one guide for myself. So let me know in the comment section what you need if I have not already done it. And that brings me to the next thing. 4 years of War Thunder open beta test, at least for planes. We had a 50% discount marathon running, and I sinned hard. I spent like the remaining money that I had. Okay, that's a bit too much, but I spent a lot of money, and I potentially would have not spent this money for me personally, because I think I have achieved a lot of the things that I wanted to achieve in War Thunder, getting all the vehicles, spading all vehicles from rank 1 to rank 4, and trying my best to spade all the vehicles at rank 5. At rank 5, the problem is, especially with jets and certain high tier tanks, they need so much RP, and I hesitate to say silver lines, but I personally don't have problems with silver lines, but I have problems to get the RP for every tank. There are so many tanks. Alone with the last update, alone with the German tier 5 vehicles, tanks, that is, it was like over 1.1 million RP required to research stuff. Now imagine doing this without talismans, without boosters, without a premium account, without being a proper player and playing with stock tanks. This will take ages, and even me, rushing through arcade, grinding like crazy, it took me ages. And so in the discount, I made the decision to purchase certain upgrades for tanks and planes that really would hinder my way to to make reviews on them. For example, on tanks, I purchased all the weapon upgrades and all the survivability upgrades, not all the mobility upgrades. So I didn't pay for like all the ones, but certain vehicles that I knew that would be painful, or like, for example, I don't know what is the point of playing the Leopard A1A1 again completely stock. I mean, I did it. I put up a video about it. It feels like a 380,000 RP reset, as I mentioned in the video. For a first impressions, that's okay. But for example, certain other like the Leopard, I know already what it will be compared to the first one, because the weapon is basically the same. There's just some add-on armor, and I don't know if it's slow or faster. I have to take it out into actual battles to find out. But don't panic right now and say, oh, he purchased it all, now we have no idea how this vehicle performs stock, and if it's worth going through and how the upgrade way should be. No. I know that. For that purposes, you can take out the upgrades. You can play like 10-15 battles to get a feel for how important certain upgrades are, except for the repair tools and the fire prevention system. I mean, everybody knows if you don't have one and you burn down, you burn down. Yeah, so I don't have to waste like 100 games to get it, like, you know what I mean. For triple A's, however, it was quite a surprise, at least the ones I played, like the Gepard and the Falcon, the British one. They surprised me a little bit with one particular part, but I will tell you that it's not really important. It's just a little aspect that I think is important for my personal, top-notch knowledge in this respect. And yeah, the main argument was it killed my interest of playing high tier War Thunder at all, and it completely destroyed the value of spaded vehicles. And for spending like €100 or even more, all the reserves that I had, including certain Golden Eagle battle wages that I played, it completely destroyed the value of playing for a few days. Now I'm about to recover and getting back the fun, but it completely destroyed it. So if you think that throwing money at the game senselessly, just clicking and upgrading certain parts more than you actually need will bring you joy and pleasure, no, it really utterly destroyed it for a few days. I mean, I played a little bit what I liked to play previously, and I enjoyed it, and the game is still amazing to look at, but I don't know what to say. It took a bit of effort to get my gears going back into line to play higher tier tanks. I haven't played tanks for a few days actually, but you know what I mean. I will recover from this. It surprised the hell out of me that I just, when I was finished, upgrading this stuff, that I stood there and said, huh, that's it. And I played nearly 3.5 years of War Thunder, and I never had this feeling, except this excessive buying, and that was a really brutal experience, at least for me. Let me know if you have any experiences like that and what do you think about this, and I'm really interested in your opinion on this, because I never experienced that. Well, once. in World of Warships when purchasing the tidbits when it was unnerved. Oh boy, did it feel pay to win. Oh boy, was it good. And then I nerfed it. And it became average. Wow, yeah. Um, on other news, Jingles, the mighty Jingles, the guy that brought me into playing War Thunder with, just playing and having fun and, convincing me more than uh, anyone else could. He retired from War Thunder like, I don't know, half a year ago when this so called cheating incident with Fly Daily happened. When Fly Daily was getting into trouble with Gaijin for having done a video about some cheater or whatnot, and it actually destroyed Gaijin's cheating prevention system, whatever, which was kind of strange. He retired and took that as of an excuse, and now he promoted a game called War Wings in Last Mingles with Jingles, 2 days ago. And, it's just for mobile phones, and while the graphics are not that bad, I guess, for a mobile device, it can't reach the water for competition for Gaijin. And, it made me think a little bit. I might have mentioned it in previous Duck Talks, like one of the early ones, that we need actually a competitor for War Thunder to get Gaijin going to fix things. But it made me a bit thinking a bit deeper, a second level and a third level of thinking. Would I switch to this competitor? Certainly for having a look at it. Would I, switch over completely? No, certainly not, because I have invested way too much time, way too much money, way too much hard blood, way too much effort into War Thunder to get good at it, to progress, to get all the vehicles. My account is something that I am really, really proud of. This is kind of my, to call it legacy is a bit overdone, but you know what I mean. This is an account I spent the last 3.5 years with, and I think it would feel a bit awkward to just leave it aside for a completely new game. Yeah. Not joking, but I thought a little bit about it. Would it really help? And the question is, would any company see an advantage in being, in competition with Gaijin? You might think, oh yeah, sure, it's easy, and they would utterly destroy War Thunder. But War Thunder was never actually the World of Tanks killer that people said it would be. Not because War Thunder struggled, but again, because a lot of people had invested too much money, time, and effort and hard blood into World of Tanks. Same goes for World of Warships. World of Warships will not sink to the bottom of, actually players. When War Thunder Naval gets into open release or open beta, whatever, because people have invested too much money. They have spent money on premium ships, premium accounts. They have spent, time in ranked battles to get flags. At least I do just play ranked battles because of that, not because of the quality of gameplay. Oh boy, no. It is kind of funny because there is also Steel Ocean, which is the competitor for World of Warships. There is also Armored Warfare versus World of Tanks. I haven't heard a word about Steel Ocean in like half a year, and Armored Warfare struggles with the player base as well, at least according to today's Jingles video. And I think this is an indicator that the original has the most potential, also because of the player base. And you just have to appreciate one thing about free-to-play online games from either Wargaming or Gaijin in the form of War Thunder. They stay interesting. They keep you hooked. They are very diversive, or at least War Thunder is for me. I mean, let's just talk about it. We have arcade game mode for planes and tanks. We have realistic air battles for planes, obviously, and also combined arms for tanks. And we have also the simulator mode. Granted, it's enduring confrontation mode, and it's just enduring confrontation mode for airplanes, but we also have simulator tank battles going on. I might give it a go with certain tanks. Nothing spoiling here, or not spoiling anything here. Just trying. Uh, I did a video on an accidental simulator battle with Ju-88, and it was kind of fun, but that's all it is. And the last thing talking about Jingles is that he uploaded a new intro for his Mingles with Jingles, and he cut out the War Thunder part, which is kind of sad because that's definitely the end of any kind of era. This is a very personal thing. I like this old guy, and now his content becomes more and more of the same. I'm not saying that he becomes bad, he's better than ever, but personally interesting for me, Armored Warfare is really uninteresting for me. Wall of Tanks, there is not too much gameplay, and even those special episodes are not that interesting from a personal perspective as they were like a year ago. World of Warships is kind of interesting when he talks about the history of ships. I mean, this is really something he is going for it, and I want to do this as well. The problem is that all the war stories that I potentially could have prepared, let's put it that way, were about capital ships. And at least in the closed beta, we will not see capital ships. They might come in later. I have no idea. We will see. But there are certainly certain interesting stories that I want to tell you about. And well, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Duck Talks. I hope you enjoyed the background footage. I mean, it was not flawless. It was not, high quality gameplay, but it was rather interesting to see how also the spawn point system works with planes. Yeah. And please give this video a like if you did. Let me know in the comment section what you think about what I just talked about. And if you have the feeling that I forgot something, of course I forgot so many things. And yeah, subscribe if you want to see more or hear more. And we will see each other in the skies and on the battlefields of War Thunder.